What's going on, Facebook land?
Woo! It's Thursday!
It is Thursday, and we are proudly back with Throw It Thursday, which has been on Alias for a little while, but with the announcement of a whole slew of bowling balls from the 7 brands of Brunswick. We're going to be having some live feeds pretty much week in and week out here for the next few, and so we can showcase all the new balls that are coming to market. So today, if you caught the segment on Tuesday, we did a Talk About It Tuesday segment, which we introduced the Hammer Scorpion Hybrid, new to the line of the Hammer brand, featuring an RG of 2.520 and a differential of 0.043. If you were following along Tuesday's broadcast, essentially, they took the LED core that was in the ever-popular Purple Hammer, and we added an outer core to it to basically lower the RG of the ball and then increase the overall differential. Then they went ahead and they wrapped that in that Syntex hybrid cover, which, if you remember back, was in the Fierce Phobia and also in the Dark Legend, which were 2 popular balls on the under the umbrella of Ebonite. So we got some people coming into the feed right now. So if you are coming in, make sure you stop in the comments section. Say hello. That way I know who's on the feed. So good evening, Nick. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well down there in the Baltimore area. If you are just getting done umpiring for the night, Nick, hopefully it wasn't too brutal outside. It's a little stormy, a little rainy here. So who else is on the program here that we can say hello to and start this night off right? Rocky Anderson, what's up, my man? Pretty much follow along every single day to see what Devin's doing. Absolutely love seeing all the pictures, my man. Billy Ray, what's going on? Obviously, my sidekick tonight is national staffer with Hammer, Carrie Smith, who happens to be the other half of me, not my better half. We're equal. We are equals in life. So I am not going to call her my better half. I refuse. She does bowl better than I do, but it is what it is. So Carrie's going to showcase this. Just to give a little insight. I did put a little teaser up earlier. Just to kind of go over, what kind of goes in for choosing layouts for Carrie. It's, she kind of has a unique ball roll, unique style. Carrie, you can keep throwing shots.
I'm waiting for the pin.
Okay. She has, kind of a unique style. She is very forward, very low tilt player. Her positive axis point is actually 5 3/4 right and 1 3/8 up. So very large track circumference. She has low tilt, but kind of paired with what I would call a little bit of higher axis rotation. But she's very speed dominant. So it's a tough client, if you will, to drill for.
So you're saying I'm complicated?
Yes. So essentially, when we're doing layouts and stuff for Carrie, especially on symmetrics, we got to make sure that we're trying to not let any of that tilt burn off. We gotta utilize the very little bit we have and get the bowling ball down lane. Because for a low tilt player, if we get that bowling ball rolling forward any sooner, they're just going to have 0 ball reaction. So what's going on, Terry? So for this one here with Carrie, I stayed right around the 4 1/4 pin to pap, and she has a val angle on this ball of 40. So what she's bowling on right now, everybody, is always, what is it? Is it house, blah, blah. Actually, no, this is not house. This is actually a 46-foot pattern on purpose. We wanted to make sure that we put something down with a little more volume, just to kind of showcase this ball, because even though it's a hybrid cover stock, it is 5,000, 1,000, 2,000 Sayer. So the bowling ball still has, quite a bit of teeth, and I have her throwing it at the box finish right now. But what we really thought about doing here while we're on the broadcast is after she throws it a little bit here, I'm actually going to take a pad. We're going to go and hit the ball and take it down to probably about 1,000, which is kind of is a baseline for Carrie and her style, just to kind of get the bowling ball to see the body, the lane a little bit more, and again, not make it, with the low tilt, make it roll forward too early. So we got we got almost 50 people in here. So let me know who's stopping by here. I definitely want some questions here. That's why we do the feeds. It's one thing to stand here and watch her throw it pretty much perfect every shot, but we want to answer what questions we can while we're on the feed. Especially if you didn't catch Tuesday's broadcast.
No questions yet? Who have questions?
Not yet. Everybody's they're just watching. They're mesmerized watching your bowling ball strike. Either that or they don't like my voice, Carrie. It's one or the other. I should probably get Brian Graham to do these. Just like call him during the day and ask Brian Graham to record his voice. It seems to be the most popular one in bowling. What's going on, Frank? So first impressions of what I'm seeing, and I didn't have her really bring other balls in here as too much of a baseline, but we had a couple older balls sitting around here down in the shop, and because Carrie, she's starting to get warmed up, starting to throw shots, she goes, "Man, what'd you put out? Why does this feel way tighter than normal?" And again, I didn't really tell her what she was going to bowl on, but had her throw some other pieces, and the other pieces were kind of punching the tree in the face pretty nicely. So it was pretty refreshing to see, even at box with a hybrid and a symmetric, that this ball was actually, digging in and turning the corner. So, my first impressions of what I'm seeing of this physically in person is it is definitely what I would refer to as kind of a mid-lane monster, if you will, because even though it's got a hybrid cover stock, the RG being much lower than what it is in the purple hammer, and the differential being medium to high, this ball really kicks and kind of smooths the body of the lane out. So if you see it, and we're trying to get in and zoomed in the best I could here, but the motion you see out of it is a very continuous sweeping motion through the lane, even with a longer pattern. Larry Colful, how you doing, man? Thanks for checking in with us. Bowen Palmar, what would be the best setup with this ball? Larry, obviously I've seen you bowl through the years, but I think since it's been so many years since I've actually physically taken a look at your bowling ball, I think to give you a true idea of how to set this ball up for you, I'd really need to get you down here on the lanes and essentially remeasure all your specs, basically your tilt, your pap, your axis rotation, just kind of looking at speed, things along those lines. As those change over time, Larry, and to kind of define ball motion properly, those are all part of the equation instead of just kind of putting lines in a ball and, kind of giving it to you and saying, go out and, start striking with this thing. So, if you have that opportunity, try and set something up with me. It can be with an existing ball, obviously, and we can give you an idea of, what this is going to look like for you. I mean, Palmyra, for the most part, from what I see and from what I see the scores coming out over there, this probably wouldn't be a bad option just based on it being what I refer to as kind of a, control piece, and definitely in between the asymmetrical realm and then some of the lower end symmetrics that we have in the line. See here, Aaron, how would you compare it to the Obsession Tour? Obviously, the Obsession is a much bigger piece. It's an asymmetrical piece, whereas the Obsession Tour is basically, a tour cover, but still in the asymmetric realm with basically the cord just being stretched out a little bit. But it does have a tour cover, so that tour cover's a little more, what I would say, a little more responsive, a little further down the lane. This ball is going to kind of fall into that realm where, let's say you're throwing the original Fugitive Solid, and you want to get maybe, a little bit more length, a little bit more roundness out of the ball. That's where this is going to kind of fall in. It's going to be earlier than a Web Tour hybrid, but when you compare apples to apples, this one's going to kick just a little bit harder off the spot, a little more rounded. Ephraim, good evening. How we doing? Chad, keep ripping, Carrie. Yep. We'll see here in a minute. Here, I'm going to actually hit this ball and see how much we wake this thing up. See if we can get her moving left a little bit, even on a little bit of a tighter condition here. You can already see she's kind of breaking them down here to the right. And even before hitting this thing with the pad, this ball keeps getting better and better each time it goes down the lane. You know, just like with any ball, you know, she threw it the first couple times and it's like, you got to wait till the ball wakes up because it's so fresh of a surface. At first, it kind of almost feels like it's burning a little bit, but man, the bowling ball just woke up. So I'm going to have her throw one more shot here, and then I'm going to hit it very lightly with a 1,000 pad, which is kind of a baseline of where we like to keep a lot of her surfaces at. Sometimes even, you know, out in tour, you know, definitely hitting with 500, whatever we need to do out there to make the ball see the front of the lane better. Yeah, that thing's rolling sweet. But I mean, you know, Carrie, you know, she keeps coming in and out of the picture here. But I mean, kind of first impression, you're kind of seeing the same thing, kind of seeing that sweeping, kind of rounded. You know, for a hybrid cover stock, it's not real shiny, obviously.
Right.
And it seems to roll pretty good off the back end of the pattern.
Yeah, I'd agree. Since it's symmetric, obviously it has that smoother motion. It doesn't jump off of it at the back. But yeah, I would agree with everything you said so far.
If you're asking what Carrie's alignment is as far as what she's sliding into, she's sliding into about 17. About 17. You know, kind of giving it probably about, you know, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
What's going on, Corey? I'm going to actually practice a little bit. We'll liven it up just a little bit. Now, keep in mind, the first, you know, when we hit this the first time here, first couple shots are definitely going to be early until it kind of settles into what this is actually going to look like. And I'm definitely not hitting it hard. I'm just going to hit it enough to get this thing into her comfort level, which, you know, obviously Carrie throws the ball pretty hard, okay? Got quite a bit of oomph behind that 15-pound ball, very forward. So we got to make sure the bowling ball doesn't miss the lane completely. Stay in the same place, throw it into this, just slide into the same place, and let's see what this thing does. So we're not going to make any move here. Way earlier. So as you can see, you know, when we talk about surface ruling the roost, first shot without moving her feet, rolled it into the front, and the ball stood up immediately. So goes to show you how much impact surface preparation has to a bowling ball to control your front to back, folks. Okay, so we're going to actually have her, let's make just some small gradual moves, Carrie, and see if we can get this thing going through the pins. Chris, how does it compare to the Web Tour Hybrid? I mean, honestly, I mean, the hybrid the Web Tour Hybrid is kind of a smooth, you know, a smooth work. Wow, did you really see that? So you can see that. How many was that, Carrie? 2? It was 1. All right, 1 gave it away a little bit more. Definitely stood up a little quicker there, and was really more through the pins. So to finish that off, Chris, Web Tour Hybrid is definitely, because of the lower differential in that ball, it is going to be a little cleaner than this ball is to the front, based on the numbers. A little quicker off the spot, where the Scorpion's going to kind of be a little bit more rounded, but overall strength is going to go to the pins. I got an angry face from Marty Posey. I don't know what that is. Sorry, Marty. Don't know why you're angry on the feed, man. We don't like angry faces. Anthony, this bowl definitely looks amazing. Yes, Anthony, just we are right in the middle of getting ready to finish off our facelift down back. Wow, pretty impressive there. So moved another one on that one, gave it away one more. The bowling ball did not stop. That thing almost still went high. So again, all that was a 1,000 pad, folks, that I hit that bowling ball with very lightly. And you can see how it really wakes up bowling balls. And we redefine ball motion based on each player, right? I'm not saying 1,000 pad is right for every single person listening on the broadcast. We need to have our surface preps for aesthetically what pleases our eye and what gives us the best feel for how we like to play the game. There was the first flat one. So that was another move of the feet. another move with the feet. That one was a little left through the front part of the lane. And that's kind of where her threshold was, right? So she gets too firm through there. It doesn't matter what bowling ball you have in your hand. When you make a poor shot, you can flat 10 with any ball. It doesn't really matter. But that was kind of the threshold of that. But Anthony, yeah, we're finishing up some renovations. There was a center out west that converted into somewhat of a family entertainment center. So we went down and got some frames for them for the new masking units. We are essentially right now we're getting ready to have the fronts covered with movie theater screen, and there is going to be overhead projectors installed on 1 through 8. So we got some pretty cool things that are taking place here for the final facelift. But yeah, you definitely have to come up and see us. This is Jeff. I am the owner here. So and the old lady's here with me.
Not old.
She's definitely old. Don't let her fool you. I'm just older. All right, folks. Well, we're on there. Mr. Paloo. The dirty Paloo's on here, Carrie. Yes.
No pantalones.
Yeah, we should call it Wood Wednesday. Oh, Anthony, what's going on, man? Sorry, I didn't put 2 and 2 together with the last. Yeah, we joked about doing Wood Wednesday. Sorry, Anthony, I didn't catch the last name to really put 2 and 2 together there. Wow, how good does that look? All right, fire away. Any other questions you may have there? Lucic, I know you're jumping on the feed. You were kind of waiting to talk to Joey yesterday. He was kind of waiting to see Carrie's ball go down the lane. He was hoping I was going to be able to throw one too before he put holes in his. But Joe, I ended up going with a 4 1/4 for her on this one, and the back angle on it's is 40. I didn't want it to see friction and roll forward too quickly with the low tilt. Chad, I am not bowling at the moment. I am still getting over a little bit of tennis elbow. Geez. Any getting over a little bit of tennis elbow, my friend. Mainly probably from golfing. So I should learn to stick to the sport that I'm actually good at, which is not golf. And I missed the 17 away to 5. Yeah, 17 to 5 is not in play on what I have out here for her today. What ball storm-wise would it compare to? I know a weird question. I've never deviated from storm yet. Well, we need to change that, Anthony. No offense. Our products are just really, really good right now. I mean, if you're getting into hybrids, I don't know their line as well as I know ours in symmetrics. But they're solid symmetrics, something that would be kind of roller around the realm, maybe like an Axiom. Man, that's tough. I mean, it's not quite, the original High Road is a hybrid, but that's way quicker. Their IQs are, essentially lower diff than what this one is by a little bit. It's just, this ball is kind of a unique shape and combination when it comes to, the cover and the core matching up. I mean, taking a purple hammer core and basically just putting an outer on it to kind of give that, thing's really starting to come now. So again, Carrie's beat this lane up. We're 18 minutes into the feed. She practiced for about 5-6 minutes beforehand. And keep in mind, this is the very first time this ball went down the lane. I literally drilled it this afternoon. She came in, brought me my dinner, which was awesome, and hopped on the lanes and is gonna, kind of give it a showcase. So she's gonna make another little move here left, see if she can get it to come around the corner, and
gotta give it away a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not the best at that, but I'm gonna give it a little college try.
Now when she slid into about 22. Ah, 5 pin.
I tried.
I think she missed that one a little bit on the bottom, but she slid into, that one was sliding into 22. So we've moved from the beginning of the feed to now, we've moved about 7 boards.
I'm gonna try again because you don't get good at something if you don't keep trying it. So.
All right, so we will, let me see what we got here. I feel like I come full circle. I first started with a blue hammer many moons ago. Now I have both the Obsession Tour. Absolutely love them both, and definitely looking forward to seeing this ball in action. Like Aaron, so far from what I've seen, I think this fills a pretty good void in the line, where I felt like that was a pretty good shot there. This ball is really, really digging in. I mean, this pattern length is 45 feet. And this thing is digging. It's kind of come full circle. We had the Fugitive in the line, and we kind of had the Web Tour Hybrid in there, and then we kind of jumped into the Obsession Tours and stuff like that. And it's kind of that gap filler ball that, has kind of been, in my opinion, has been missing from, that part of the line and the Hammer brand. So throwing this in here, I know this one's going to get a lot of use for me. And then also on that end of the bag, since we don't have the Flawless and the things like that in the line anymore, the Web Pearl that's coming out is going to be another one. Joel, to answer your question, we are in Ephrata, PA. If you are, if you're familiar with it, years ago, this place would have been Ephrata Lanes, which at one point was owned by Al Blau. It is in the old municipal building in downtown Ephrata. I'm in the basement. And we've converted it over to a training center here. We're in the middle of another renovation, never ends. And we got about 1,800 square feet of pro shop space in here too. So one stop basically shop for anything you need. We got time for a few more questions. That's what happens when you get it in and you whip it. She's capable of missing. I haven't seen her miss in a few weeks, but that wasn't very good. All right, folks, we're at the 22-minute mark here. So if you have any additional questions, fire those through, and we'll go from there. Coaching rates and stuff online. Yeah, you can basically you can book me online through our Facebook page. Basically, if you go on to the Pure Bowling Facebook page, all of our services are basically listed on there. The best part is to basically book me. There'll be like a drop down that will give you the ability to get a 1 hour lesson with me or Carrie or somebody else. And you can essentially, lock me up for an hour. We do a ton of coaching in here. Whether you're working with me or Carrie, you're in good hands. I always pick on her. If you want to, put money on somebody to bowl, put it on her. If you want to learn something, come to me. So that's about how we go through it. But to answer your question, Anthony, my rates, I try to keep it inexpensive because I want everybody to get better. I'm $50 for an hour. Hey, Dave, what's going on? Let's see here. What is Carrie's ball speed? How different would ball reaction be if she threw slower or faster? Well, she can. To be honest with you, Dave, she can throw it slower, and by all means, she can throw it faster. If I let her loose, and they give her a pattern where we like to call the lip is in play, like 1-2. She's going to throw the high hard one, and she's going to hit the one in the front a lot. Obviously, with her style, with the lower tilt, it is harder for her to slow it down. But like right there, that is something she's worked her butt off to be able to get her hand around it a little more. And keep in mind too. I mean, when anybody out there is learning, there is some things that can hold people back from being able to kind of, get their hand around the ball. Carrie's got an extremely tiny hand. Okay. I mean, her total span isn't even 3.5 inches. So there's not a lot of her hand on the ball circumference. So to wrap it around the ball makes it a little harder. Speed is her friend. I mean, she generates her power to get the corner out by trying to get her legs moving. But when she gets on a tighter pattern, and there's times where she has to get her hand around it a little more, she's got to play the middle part of the lane. Obviously, she's got to back the speed down a little bit. But I will tell you, if you go back 4 or 5 years, and I asked her to do that, she really struggled to do it. She struggled to perform in tournaments where, she didn't have her bread and butter. But for instance, she's won a bunch of tournaments recently, as recently as last week, winning a mixed doubles tournament with John Fury. And, you know, they bowled on Montreal, and in the center it was in. I mean, the play was basically in a little further, and she's not scared to get in. She will play the middle of the lane and essentially, you know, believe in her swing, which is what it comes down to. So when you're going through, you know, lessons and things like that with me, one of the biggest aspects that I go over with people all the time is that you have to stay within yourself while you're learning to expand your abilities. But no matter what portion of the lane you're playing, all you're doing is going up and hitting a mark that you're looking at. Okay, so Carrie isn't comfortable moving in, whereas some people are very uncomfortable moving towards the gutter, right? You just have to trust your swing, and it's a big part of it. What's going on, Hansel? It's great seeing you over the weekend. How far are we from Charleston, West Virginia? I would say probably 4.5. How far is Charleston from, like, Morgantown? Scott Clemens, what's up, man? Good to hear from you. Glad to see you on the program here. Hope you're doing well. I know you haven't been doing any bowling, but I do follow along and see the fitness journey and stuff. I mean, you're definitely more dedicated with that than I am, my man. The last curl I did was like a 12-ounce curl. Cheese curl. You're 2.5 if you're 2.5 hours west of there, you'd be about probably 6. And Charleston would be about 6 to us then. Ephrata, PA is basically Lancaster County. If that helps you out at all. Lancaster, we're about 30 minutes east of Harrisburg. Charleston. All right, anybody else? Any last minute questions here? I'm going to get ready to give her
6 hours.
6 hours, yep. So, Aaron, it's about 6 hours from you. Trust me, we've had people come in from a lot further.
Worth the drive.
Yeah. Danielle actually got off early. That's a miracle. You got online, told them it was raining, and headed out. That's cool. Oh, you got a handful of that one. Oh, look at that. Well, we're glad you tuned in, Danielle. You can go back and kind of see some of the other stuff. But I mean, we've successfully moved. We were on the feet long enough for a half hour and beat this lane up enough to basically get to move about 8, 9 boards left. From the start. Christine, what's a 6-ball arsenal for Carrie? Wow, that's.
What are we bowling on?
Honestly, the 6-ball arsenal for Carrie is going to change based on where we're going, what we're bowling on. Unfortunately, out on the PWBA tour, they do not release the patterns early, so the girls are kind of forced to have a bunch of gear out there and basically pay to put bowling balls on transport week to week that may never come into play ever. Essentially, they only find out what they're bowling on in practice session, and then they go from there. But for Carrie, to give you a roundabout way, she's going to have a lot more asymmetric bowling balls in her bag than symmetrics normally. And because she needs a little bit extra help with the core kicking down lane that we see in the asymmetrical bowling balls. So when we get into, we play around a lot with, just basically the surface preparations of those balls, whether they're solids or hybrids or pearls. And again, a lot of those are going to end up at the same surface prep, right around 1,000. But right now in Carrie's bag, ones that are kind of staples, she has in there. Zenith Pearl is definitely in the bag. The Obsession Solid, the Strata Hybrid is always in her bag. Trying to think of some of the other favorites that are in there.
Well, it's an oldie but a goodie, but it's always in there.
She still carries a Redemption Hybrid with her at all times. Symmetric side, damn good Verge. GD4 has been huge. And this one's definitely going to make its way into the bag. There's no doubt about it. Rod and Art, sorry, I missed that. The pattern doesn't have, I don't really use main patterns here. I make every pattern I have in the building myself. So this pattern is 45 feet. and it's about 27 mils. It's relatively flatter. Ratio on this one's about 3-to-1. So we don't, at the training center here, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've putting out some softer patterns in here before to let us strike. But we generally have, we generally use tougher patterns, stuff that we can try to simulate as much as possible the real environment for what a lot of the tournament players play on most of the time. Now, when I'm giving a lesson or something like that, obviously I'm going to put out something closer to what everybody feels is like a house pattern, if you will. Make them a little softer, what you're used to. But again, we're also bowling on 75-year-old wood here in this building. I know it's hard to see down lane. We got 75-year-old wood. We have original AMF 8230s in the back that are purring like kittens. You know, a lot of time, busted knuckles, and great help from my man Dougie Kent coming down here and helping me turn wrenches along with some other people. We got this place running pretty good when it comes to the machinery down back.
Don't let him fool you. There is some swear words flying around too.
Yeah, I still swear a lot. Those machines don't budge when your knuckles bounce off them.
True.
Yes, it is as ours as well, Rod. You know, we're going to try to preserve the wood as long as we can. And there's kind of that threshold where, you know, right now Carrie's bowled that long that this ball is getting to the point where it's going to make her creep too far left, and it digs too early to get around the corner, but on top of it's a little too early. So again, this would be, you know, in anything, you know, 30 minutes in, beating up the exact same portion of the lane. She's at the point where, you know, it would be a change of bowling balls at this point. All right, we'll let her throw one more here, Carrie, and then we're going to call it a night. You're going to try to strike? That's a good idea.
Always ask to practice on the strike.
That's a strike. You tickled a bucket.
I tried.
All right, gang.
Off my hands.
Hopefully we got to, you know, simulate quite a bit on that, answer some of the questions that you had. If there's any of the newest releases that were announced that give you, you know, you're kind of the most interested in, and you like for us to kind of review sooner rather than later, just, you know, shoot me a message over on Facebook, and you can either send it to my personal account or right to the Pure Bowling page. I answer both of those. We'll be glad to, you know, kind of evaluate whatever we can within the 7 brands. Obviously, Carrie and I are both sponsored by Hammer. So Hammer brands and the other 6 adjacent brands and sister brands will be sure to help you out. All right, that's where we're going to end it. Carrie says she's done. She always leaves on a good shot, which that was a really good one. And we are going to call it a night, but we always like to end every single segment. You know, continue to go out there and support small business. You know, be sure you're stopping by your local centers, getting a couple extra games in, supporting them. We're on the other side, basically feels like of the pandemic, with things opening up and getting a little normalcy back in our lives. The tournaments are returning and leagues back in full swing. But by all means, if you're in the area, stop by and see me here. I'd love to help you with your game, whether it's equipment related or it's just getting some help on the lanes with some instruction to get you moving in the right direction. But until then, support bowling. By all means, buy brands of Brunswick bowling balls, specifically Hammer and our favorite brand. And we will tune back in and hopefully see everybody next Tuesday. Have a good night.
Bye. Happy 4th of July.